since it's another day, billions will kneel and pray. Anything to aid escape from the world so cold and gray.
That's your fucking going out there to vote, boy.
And we're back.
And we are back. I've been fucking pumped about this shit.
Yeah. Hey, and FYI, we're still sick.
Yeah. So, trigger warning. We're going to be coughing. I'm going to try and edit as much of it out. The thing that sucks about that, though, is like when there's a cough or a fucking,
Yeah.
and there's other talking involved.
Yeah, it's hard to edit
You can't
that
just
out.
take it all out because then you're it's just not good.
Let's
Let's get this housekeeping out of the way. If you don't want the housekeeping, hang on a second. Getting ahead of myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Welcome to the Bones and Tubbs podcast.
Yeah, we're Bones and Tubbs.
I'm Bones and that's Tubbs.
We're over here.
Yeah.
Giving you that truth and knowledge you search for every week.
Truth, knowledge, conspiracy, dick jokes.
Everything you want in a given day.
Satire. So much satire that, it's satirical.
Yeah.
Welcome if it's your first time. If it's not your first time, welcome back.
Yeah.
Some housekeeping. So if you don't want to do the housekeeping, just jump ahead. I don't know, probably, what do you think, 10, 15 minutes?
Shit.
We always kind of
theoretically, housekeeping is like 5 minutes, and then rambling for like 10, and then we get to the show.
So 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But
If you just want to get to the topic. But if you want to hear us ramble,
here for the full experience.
you gotta listen to it all.
We are on Discord, and I'm a fucking idiot, so I just posted we are on Discord. I was like, check out the Bones and Tubbs podcast on Discord. When really I had to share a link, so I deleted that post. But now I admitted to you, so now you all know I'm a fucking idiot.
Now you know.
But the link is available on our Instagram and on our Facebook page. So if you want to, in the future, get on there and participate, send us, naked pictures while we're recording or whatever. Pictures of your man stains, woman stains, whatever. Try and throw us off our game.
Try to throw us off our game. I don't think you will, but
No,
you can go ahead. And
We'll
try.
do that ourselves.
Yeah,
That's what we do here.
yeah. We're self-distracting here on this show.
It's good.
So
Got some shout outs. You want to get yours out and then I'll get mine?
yeah. So we talked about it on the show again, but he wanted to give one more shout out, and I figured since he's putting our logo on his little banner for the event, I figured I might as well do it again because he's a good guy.
We like logos.
And we like our word to get out there. So there's going to be a Veterans Day cookout on Veterans Day, which I believe is the 11th.
11/11.
Oh, he's going to cut me if I get it wrong again.
QAnon, 11/11.
Yeah, right. It's at the... it's being hosted by the Fairfield Civitan Club. It's going to be at Joyce Park in Hamilton, Ohio, at noon until 3. All veterans and spouses eat free, and everyone else is $5 a person. The event is being hosted by Cowboys Smoke Shack Barbecue Catering and Infidel Custom Design, LLC.
Yeah.
But
For tax purposes.
yeah. But so if you live in the local Hamilton area and you happen to be a veteran or a person who appreciates veterans, you go on down there and check it out.
Somebody that wants that food so bad you're willing to drive. There it is. Come on.
But yeah, should be good food.
Shout out number one. Complete.
And just a FYI, because I think this is a good little noble thing they did. All the extra food left over is going to the local homeless shelter.
Are they gonna put it in the trash can in front of the homeless?
They're going to put it in 55-gallon drums. Because that's what they're used to. You know what I mean? It's like, it's their receptacle.
You don't want to make them feel uncomfortable by just giving it to them. They're used to having to dig that shit out themselves.
Like, you put that shit on plates,
Right.
and you give them forks and shit. Like, they just look at you confused. Like, what is all this extra window dressing? I don't need that.
Right.
I'm just joking. We're just joking. But I feel like you gotta say that. They're like, homeless people like using forks too.
Right. Man, this Discord's popping.
Yeah.
RPW Fat Man's watching from the shadows. He's not saying anything. We got Baked and Awake podcast. Steve Kaminsky in there. Just joined. Everyone look busy. And Orion joined the server. It's super effective. Smoke them if you got them. All right. Well, the other two shout-outs we've got are for the streamers that we used to work with in the Factory of Sadness. They're now moved on. It's got a good thing going over there.
Yeah.
On Mixer. If you guys are on Mixer, check out We Are Legend stream. He's also on Instagram at We Are Legend, I believe. And Twitch, We Are Legend channel. I like to go there and watch. I don't know. It's weird because you hear like people make money streaming, right?
Yeah.
It was a weird concept to me. Like I read a story where porn stars were getting out of porn to go stream video games, and I was like, who the fuck would watch video games and pay money? And then I started watching streams, and I was like, I get it.
You get it, right?
Fucking get it.
I was kind of the same way. I was like, how is this lucrative? And then I was like,
fuck college.
Yeah. You know, like in cartoons, when you'd see cartoon character dollar signs, like, and you hear the cash register machine, like, ka-ching, come up in their eyes.
Right.
When it's every time I see something where I'm like, how is someone supposed to make money off of that? And then it's like,
You just see them, yeah.
ka-ching.
I watched PewDiePie stream one time on YouTube Live, Super Stream, and he made, I counted it as best I could, but there was a shitload I couldn't count. He made $20,000 in less than an hour.
Holy shit.
Fuck off. You know what I mean? But, more power to you. So check out We Are Legend on the streamers, Twitches, Instagram, Mixer. We also got some new music we're going to preview at the end of the episode.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, he reached out to us, wanted us to, he said he liked what we do. I checked him out. I like what he does. Independent artist. Frank America.
We're all about getting those artists out there and letting you guys hear them and know what they're all about.
Yeah. I might not agree that the earth is flat, but, whatever. I mean, chase your bliss, bro.
Hey, yeah,
We're going to play your music until it's all been played.
And hey, I know this episode isn't going to become available till tomorrow.
Yeah.
So this next message is relevant, but
Go vote.
Go vote. I mean, if you didn't
machine.
vote already, you build a time machine.
Yeah. Rick and Morty yourself back into the past.
Yeah, and then vote
For Travis Irvine.
or whoever.
No.
Well, okay, yeah. I guess you're right. Like, you don't want to vote for whoever. I like people that vote. I posted a picture of myself with my little sticker, and I said, go out and do your civic duty today.
Yeah. There you go. That's all I've got.
Is that it?
For shout-outs, anyway. The Bones and Tubs Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you can join the nation. But you could also pay more. And if you don't want to, I get it, You don't know what we're about. You might not have the money. Just go over to iTunes. Give us a good review. Helps us get out to more people. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Bones and Tubs Podcast. Available on all the podcatchers.
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of questions. I don't know if you've noticed it. A lot of people are asking me like, hey, Bones, where can I find the Bones and Tubs Podcast? Because I've only been listening on YouTube. And I was like, well, let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
What kind of phone do you have? And if you got an Apple phone, I would tell you to check us out on iTunes because we're on iTunes.
If you had an Apple phone, I'd have to say that's probably the easiest medium at which to get the podcast because you have iTunes on your iPhone.
Right. You just got to search it. It's there, and it updates right away.
Yeah, you hit subscribe.
Yeah.
On the iTunes page,
Yeah.
and it literally, as soon as the episode drops, guess what?
It's on your phone.
Hot, fresh new episode. It's hot and ready.
Ready.
And
it's tasty. It's not like Little Caesars.
Yeah, as I say, yeah. Toby showed us a meme earlier that I liked where it was like Little Caesars, and it's like, it's hot and ready, and the person's like, is it good? And they're like, it's hot and ready.
We were hot, ready, and good.
Yeah. So, if that's your case, otherwise,
You've got an Android device, then I'm going to tell you to download BeyondPod.
I like BeyondPod. I'm going to have to go with Stitcher, though.
I get it. My only beef with Stitcher is that it doesn't update for sometimes over a day.
I know. It takes a little bit longer, but I think Stitcher is a little bit more user-friendly.
Yeah. I use BeyondPod on my phone to download the episode after I put it up to see that it updated and everything's fine. And it's up there as soon as I click post.
Yeah.
So there's that. You can check us out there. If anybody out there in the listening audience knows what the fuck I'm doing wrong with Anchor, hit me up in the fucking any way you can contact us, and let me know what I'm doing because I want to merge both of our podcasts. There's one on there that's basically just me telling you to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
And I would like to fix that.
Yeah. So, I'd say that's about it for the housekeeping.
Yeah, it's one of those fall cleaning ones where you haven't swept the garage in like
Oh, man. There's
6 days.
Fucking crumple up leaves and fucking
dead bodies.
shit and dead bodies and fucking
Use needles.
fucking condoms and fucking jizz rags and
Yeah. Gross. These guys are disgusting.
scumbags.
Yeah.
And I found out the other day that scumbag actually means, it used to mean, or I guess it still technically does, it means a used condom.
Yeah, it's just been occulted like other words we're going to talk about. It's
But-
been changed, hidden.
And I thought that was funny because now I feel like it gives more power to calling somebody a scumbag because now you're calling them a used condom.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anything more useless and disgusting.
Yeah. MAGA, or, make scumbag great again.
Yeah.
Mascaga.
Mazgclub.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah. All right, so should we just get on to the show then?
I think so. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
We decided that our topic this week would be the New World Order,
the history.
Yeah, the history, the goals, where they came from, where they're trying to go. Cursory glance, we're going to give you a lot of things to look up, as we always do. Mm-hmm. Help you become a better, more functioning human being.
I find the best way is while you're driving and listening to a podcast is to keep a pen and a piece of paper sitting on your knee.
Yeah.
So that you can then write it down while you're driving.
Yeah. I also like to aim my car at like another car while I'm doing it.
I like to wait till I see a school bus up ahead, and then I look down and start writing,
Yeah.
But
because they're not going to stop.
But no, I wouldn't suggest that at all. You just got to practice the memory games, and then you just you hear something, and that's how I do it. If I'm listening to a podcast, I hear something like, I have to look that up.
Yeah, I do the same thing for sure.
I'll run it in my head about 20 times, and then I'll remember it.
I also, I'm good at doing the number 3 while I drive. So, I'm pretty talented when it comes to doing that.
Yeah, as I say, you have a talent. I would be afraid of. I don't want to get charges for vehicular homicide. I'm not going to lie.
Or exposure. But, yeah. So anyway, our show topic today is the New World Order and its history. And I kind of took a lean towards what they do in order to keep you how they want you. Mm-hmm. And then in the next show, I think we're going to go into solutions. Ways you can fight back against it. And all of its antiquity.
A more positive episode.
Yeah, because we just pretty much looked at our back catalog and we just listed a lot of things that were wrong in the world and didn't have any offerings for you.
I think the thing is our big long chain of episodes. Usually it's it's a shit like we're shitting on everything, gloom and doom and all that shit for 5-6 episodes in a row usually.
Yeah,
and then one
redeeming
episode. And then we shit, redeem episode. I think it's just a way to keep you guys from, just getting too depressed and turning the show off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Baked in Awake podcast. Anarchists in the sheets, pussycats in the streets. Okay, then.
Yeah.
So, I figured a good place to start would be the definition, right? We got to define the problem.
Yeah.
You must name the demon before you can control it, right? Mm-hmm. So I went to Google, as most Americans would. Because it's the most available way to look shit up now.
Yeah.
What is the New World Order? I asked. Search button. And then it immediately brought me to Snopes and Wikipedia, where it told me it was a conspiracy. Mm-hmm. So I like that word, conspiracy. Yeah. So let's see here. Wikipedia says it's a conspiracy theory. We went over to Webster's Dictionary after that, and we found that conspiracy means the act of conspiring together. Or an agreement among conspirators, a group of conspirators. So then I went a little further down the rabbit hole, because obviously the word conspiracy has been changed from its original meaning, right?
Yeah.
It's been steeped with mind control, doublethink, all those things. Mm-hmm. You're meant to kind of hear that word and think a fucking tinfoil hat dude that lives in his mom's basement, jerks off with the Cheeto-stained penis.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case. Go over to... let's see here. Vocabulary.com. Conspiracy. From the Latin word conspirare, which literally just means to breathe together. So, they're right in a way. Mind control, doublethink, scrubbed free of that. It is indeed a conspiracy. It has been a conspiracy for a very, very long time. The New World Order, with these old and new definitions in mind, paint a picture, in my mind at least, of the power struggle from time forgotten.
Yeah.
So we go back to the church. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the Christian church. It could be any religion. And we're going to get definitions again. Religion, from the Latin religare, to tie down or to hold back.
Yeah.
Boom. And religion as a whole, bear in mind, like I said, it means to tie down or hold back. So keep that in mind when you say you're religious or you practice a religion. Because that's what it fucking means. Power establishments of all faiths have raped, murdered, covered up, burned, and pillaged their way through all forms of human expression and knowledge. Knowledge and wisdom make being a slave impossible. So therefore, you look back at the Christian history of capital G God telling, whoever his preferred puppet of the day was to go and burn down some Gnostic libraries. Mm-hmm. Even further down the line of history, the Alexandrian Library. They always like to burn libraries.
Yeah.
Because knowledge makes you not a slave.
Generally speaking, when they're forming a new orthodoxy, from what I've read in like Hermetica and stuff like that, step one is you destroy all the temples and things that don't agree with your orthodoxy.
Make yourself the only voice on the stage.
Mm-hmm. And then step two is burn the libraries down so there's no proof that anything else existed before you.
Right. We've always been here. We're the only authority.
Yeah.
Little do they know that once you learn, authority's a fucking illusion.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. So when the religions of the world were the present world order, the controllers of all things, they did everything in their power to destroy knowledge as a means of imposing their religions and dogmatic belief systems, keeping humanity in a state of tithing slavery. Mm-hmm. So at some point, you think about, more religious stories. And my favorite, the story of Jesus. Mm-hmm. The church of today would paint him one way, when history and the Gnostic texts that were all but burned, except for the ones that they found buried, which made them shit their pants.
They had to be hidden.
Look up the Book of Thomas or the Book of Enoch or the Book of Jasher. Those are great. Mm-hmm. But Jesus was an anarchist. He spent his entire life fighting the government and the established religion or Jewish aristocracy. Yeah. And he whipped bankers. Yeah. I mean, that's my motherfucking dude.
Yeah.
And the state killed him.
And they put words in his mouth. That's when you get things like render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's and whatnot.
Other silly-ass biblical quotes like Romans where it says every government established on the earth is of God and should not be questioned. Like, okay, bro, we should have just let Hitler do his thing then, right? Yeah. Him, Mao, all those governmental cats.
Listen, Mao got to do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
He didn't get toppled.
No.
No.
I also heard another little theory I thought I'd throw in there that we talked about with, I'm not going to name his name because I think he's a piece of shit in the shill, but he still had a good video on YouTube talking about, have you been praying to Satan this entire time?
Yeah, that video was fucking crazy.
So, that was from the Book of Enoch, and he made reference to this idea that the devil had never been named in the Bible, and I'm thinking in my head like, well, Lucifer, right? Lucifer was not his name. Lucifer was his title. Yeah. He was the most beautiful of all of God's angels, right? And he was the bearer of light, the bringer of knowledge, all these things. He was named the serpent, which is also another title in Genesis. The only time he was ever named in the Bible by his name was in the Book of Enoch, which probably is why the Book of Enoch was removed from the Bible by the church. Yeah. Just saying. And in that book, his name is Gadriel.
Gadriel. Which, that's the thing, if you know anything about like Christian mythology and stuff like that, if you look at the names of angels, they all end in L. Yeah. And that's in reference to the fact that like every angel's name is in reference to their job. Yeah. So like, because L is God, right? L in that sense means God. So like, I think Michael is next to God. Or something like that. Like, so each one had their own purpose.
God by creator is what you mean.
Right? Yeah. Like, well, yeah. Like that's their purpose. Yeah. Like they're literally working as extensions of God.
So in this video, he kind of goes and points to the idea that perhaps God is short for Gadriel. Yeah. So maybe all of your prayers offered unto God are actually offered unto the devil. Yeah. So there's that thought. Yeah. And anytime you see capital the Lord is in reference to a shortened version of Lord Baal.
That horned god.
So maybe there's a reason why the Jews don't name God. Right? Yeah. Maybe that's why.
Well, Yahweh's a placeholder. Yeah. It's not actually, like, if you've ever heard that term before, Yahweh, and reference to the notion that that's God's name, that's not God's name according to Jews. No. That's merely...
It's a title holder.
It's a placeholder because they don't know his name.
Therefore, you don't want to be praying to the wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, here's the thing, like, that's the one, and he talked about in the little clip, and I actually like that. He's, like, the one great mystery left is God's true name. Yeah. it's never been revealed.
No. So keep that in mind for those of you out there of a spiritual nature, because we already know we can't call ourselves religious anymore, and you probably shouldn't use the word God.
Yeah.
And, for further historical context, before I get off the religion thing and we move on to more history of the New World Order, when Jesus was asked by his disciples, how should we pray? He said, Our Father.
Yeah.
And he only made reference, even in the hidden books, the ones that were taken out, he only refers to the Creator as Father. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
We're all about helping you not pray to Satan here.
I feel like
podcast.
Somewhere, though, there's going to be an SJW that gets pissed off because we're giving them the pronoun Father.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Implicitly saying that God is a man.
The only thing that gets my dick harder than regular heterosexual sex is fucking SJW suffering, so...
Well, but then that's the thing, though. It's kind of eye-rolling where it's like, you're kind of right, but in the same sense, like, it's just another placeholder in reality because you still don't know his name.
Right.
So, like,
shut the fuck up.
At the end of the day, it's just a placeholder that's more appropriate.
Yeah.
Like... Because the thing is, it's like, you don't want, if it's true about the God Gad thing, you wouldn't want to call him that, and you wouldn't want to call him Lord either because it's in reference to Lord Baal.
Yeah.
So the only thing you could actually do and try to even get close to what he is, what it is, because I'm not even going to give it a pronoun.
Right.
Because it's something so far beyond our comprehension.
Yeah.
That we can't begin to understand it.
That's like a third-dimensional creature trying to explain a fourth-dimensional object. It's not going to happen. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
We could talk about it. You're right, because you could talk about the fourth dimension in the abstract.
Yeah.
But you can't perceive it.
No.
So
it's like black and white universe explaining color. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Good try. But anyway, that's enough religious soapboxing, spiritual soapboxing. See. Mm-hmm. But anyway, at some point throughout history, we had a change, and I don't know if that was. In my mind, there's a theory that perhaps the people, because it wasn't just the church, it was people inside the church that kept the occult knowledge that they burned and had hidden. They kept it for themselves, and they used it. They used natural law. They used all of the occult things, the magic and all that. They kept it to themselves. Now, I don't believe that they were zealots. I believe that they used the zealots for their purpose. So perhaps they saw an end to the church model, and they said, maybe we should go with government.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing, like, if you look at the grand scheme of things, I was reading this the other day in the Hermetica, they talk about the notion that, like, if you look at the course of human history and just say, like, the knowledge, like, the Hermetic knowledge, right? Yes. If you follow its path through history, you see that, like, time and time again, there's two warring factions when it comes to the knowledge. There's the ones that like to keep it a secret for themselves, and then there's the ones who feel like it's their duty to try to spread it as far and wide as humanly possible.
And the only times that I believe the latter tried to hide it was to keep the zealots from burning it. I think they were the ones responsible for keeping the Hermetica, the Kybalion, and all that other stuff hidden because they buried it. They were like, we can't share this shit right now because we'll fucking hang.
Yeah.
And with a tradition that's passed from lip to ear, the last thing you want to do is go getting hung.
Yeah. Well, and that, I think, like, when you said the church, the whole moving from the church model to the governmental model, right? I think you're right, because, like, by that point, we're starting to see Protestant Reformation and Protestant blowback from, like, the most, like, gross and corrupt things that the Catholic Church was doing. Like, say, like, take it for example, like Martin Luther. Martin Luther, just a monk, very devout man.
Yeah.
He saw something the church was doing, which was, they're called indulgences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They don't do it anymore because, obviously, it's fucking whack.
It's silly as fuck.
Like, I'm bringing back whack now.
Whack.
But anyway, so, basically the notion of an indulgence is that you are a sinner. Okay?
We get it. We get it. You sin.
Like, the Catholic Church says, you're a sinner, and you don't want to spend time in purgatory. Because their belief was that, even if you were a good person, if you committed sins, you would have to spend, it was like going to prison. Mm-hmm. Like, you had to spend X amount of time in purgatory. So they sold indulgences.
Yeah.
And the indulgence is the notion, it's basically like a get out of jail free card.
Right.
Like, hey, you give us this money, and we will keep you from going to purgatory, and you go straight to heaven.
Silly as fuck.
And Martin Luther's like, no. Like, it says right here, like, it is only, like, God has decision on who goes to heaven.
Yeah. When the Catholic Church came around and they, tried all that with their little slavery tactic, I mean, yeah, it's time to move on.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, the New World Order has, if they've done one thing well, it's this. They've always, when they've come into a new system, they have a backup plan.
They are very good at judo. They will throw that energy, they will throw their intentions into another direction, I feel.
Yeah.
When their position is compromised.
When they feel like they have lost, like if they're losing ground, like say, like when the Protestant model began to show up, like, or like the notion that like, oh shit, there's people who are caught onto our bullshit.
Yeah.
They had already set into place the notion that they were going to like push off into like these different governmental houses in Europe and stuff like that. Like we've got these ruling houses in Europe. We've like consolidated power in these places. Let's go ahead and push off into those.
The heads, the dark occultists themselves, with all the knowledge and the power at the top of the church, were like, yeah, let's go to these houses. Mm-hmm. And they just infiltrate. And, you know, you move on from your religious wars, you know, your religious reasons for killing and all that, and then you just move it over to democide.
Yeah.
You got to kill them because they're against the government of the time, you know, whatever it might be. And then you try and spread, what was it, Rome? All roads lead to Rome. At one time, they were almost everywhere.
Yeah. The other thing is that these, when they split off and and they decided, well, we need to take control a different way, right? Mm-hmm. It's still, even if it's their plan B, it still takes a while for it to roll back out again. So it's like a cycle for them. They cycle into one, it consolidates. And the thing is, like, and the problem is that they have to evolve with the times.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you take, for example, like, part of the reason why they started to fail in the religious notions was because printing presses had become a thing.
Right.
So now, like, the ability to write, like, because before everything was handwritten.
Right.
So, like, there was a whole class of people who exclusively wrote.
Yeah.
And people who read.
Or even, like, just quick rewind into religion. Like, for how long was the Bible in a completely different language and had to be read to you by a priest?
Exactly. Well, and that's the other thing is that not only was the printing press a big thing, translating the Bible into different languages was a huge thing, too, that they began to see their power slip away because they're like, they can call us on our bullshit now because these people are able to read these texts now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where before, only like the higher upper echelons of society were able to take these texts and read them.
Yeah.
And give the message to people because, like, one, it was in Latin, and only people who were rich enough to afford an education could actually read Latin.
Right.
Let alone understand the philosophical concepts being laid out in said Bible.
Now, obviously, we're not going to hit all the spots of all the entire world, you know, because we're very Amerocentric.
Yeah.
We are Americans by birth. We're not proud. I mean, I'm not proud.
No.
My parents fucked, okay, and they fucked in Ohio, and I was born in Ohio subsequently later on. So, therefore, that's why I know this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm from here.
Yeah.
Now, here's another little conspiracy twinge that I don't know if we've talked about this before or not, but this is one that I've entertained in my head for a while. The emperor phase, right? Mm-hmm. Throughout the governmental history of things. And then eventually I feel like they went into that judo pivot again, and they were like, probably ought to change that because people are getting pissed. So then you kind of fast forward to, at least in my mind, you go to like the royalty, right? You kind of go back on the twinge, like they go back in the twinge of like these people are of the Merovingian line, like their blood comes from Christ. So they kind of did a weird little judo with that when they brought religion back into it.
Yeah.
And they, amongst their other private fucking crazy occult rituals where they believe they came from a sea monster, look that shit up.
Yeah.
But then they're back now at this time with the idea that their family alone has the divine right to rule.
Yeah, and when you start to get to this point, like I said, if they're good, okay, I'll say they're good at two things. One, they're always good at having a backup plan.
Yeah.
And two, they're fairly decent at adaptation too.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you look at it like, so first starts the printing press and translating the Bible to different languages and stuff like that, and that begins to make people question things. But then when you're getting into the governmental phase, the more wealth that gets spread out because, you know, we're coming up, right? The more people become educated, the more people that can learn things, right? And understand that they're being duped, right?
Right.
So what do they do to combat that? They start pumping out, like you start seeing the quote-unquote enlightenment phase where you see like Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all Enlightenment writers were shills
Yeah.
because they weren't. There were some who were legit.
But most of them probably were.
Well, here's the thing. This is where you see the whole black hat, white hat thing start to play out again, because like you have some white hats who are refining this Hermetic knowledge, and they're like trying to get it out. Like you got, Thomas Paine and whatnot talking
Simulating
about
truth and shit.
Yeah, talking about natural rights.
Yeah. Natural law? Question mark?
Natural rights and natural law, kind of one and the same, if you ask me. But then you get other dudes like Hobbes who are coming out with like texts like Leviathan, which is like a case for monarchical rule. The notion that like the divine right of kings shit.
Yeah.
And that, not only that, but like Hobbes he even strayed just a little bit by saying like, even if it's not a king, we need to have strong rulers. Mm-hmm. So like, and this is when other people are talking about the notions of bringing back democracy, bringing back like Greek democracy and the Roman Republic and things like that. You're getting those first murmurs of people talking like, well, they did it pretty good for a while, but they fucked up.
And I feel like they probably had a better time selling the idea of democracy at the time, because it was such I would assume, sort of an ingrained idea that we all had natural rights. Yeah. So that you'd never have to worry about the majority voting away the rights of the minority.
Yeah.
We would all assume that everyone has these rights. These are things that are untouchable, right?
But the thing is, it's like, and I think during this time, so we're talking about like the 17th and 18th centuries, right? You're seeing the biggest play out of white hat, black hat enlightenment at the same time.
Yeah.
Because like you have the United States, of course, coming up, and I don't care what anybody says, I think the majority of those individuals were white hats.
Yeah.
Who saw that enlightenment, all that knowledge coming from the good guys, and being like, this is some legit shit.
I do wonder, though, if that was not also a pivot in some ways, because like you see, I'm sure there was, obviously people were pissed in growing numbers, or a certain percentage where the crown started to feel uncomfortable. They're like, well, let's send this new group off to a new land, and then they would try to control the revolution in their favor, because there's some conspiracy out there now that shows that the United States is a corporation, and that the whole birth certificate thing is that we are still kind of tithing the crown in a way that you would exactly. But I mean, it's a decent theory. I do believe that it was the greatest fight amongst black and white hats, because even if that's true and they did send them over here to pivot again, they sent the wrong motherfuckers over here.
Yeah, and because that's the thing, like, you start getting these notions of what we would refer to in contemporary times as modern Western liberalism. And when I say that, I don't mean leftism. I mean liberalism. The notions of republic.
Liberation through knowledge.
Yes, and democracy and things like that.
Yeah.
You're getting those notions brought in. But I feel like, even though, like... I feel like for the New World Order, that time and period, like, it was kind of one of those things where they're like, we got to let some of this shit burn, because if we don't, it's going to kill us all, right? Because, like, take for example, look at a country like France. They didn't take control of the fire when they saw it, and then everything fucking burned.
Yeah,
and like, even much worse than anything that ever happened in the American Revolution. You got, like, they didn't give a fuck. We're killing all the motherfucking rich people.
Yeah.
Right? But at the same time, you got the black hats still saying, okay, like, they infiltrated these notions of democracy, right? Mm-hmm. And being like, okay, well, yeah, this is great. We need to have freedom and da-da-da-da. And the government needs to protect its citizenry.
But of course, the government, who will protect the rights if there's no government?
Exactly. So, like, that's where you see that was a nice pivot on their part, because they were like, hey, they do that pivot turn. Yeah, the government needs to, like, help people.
Right.
Like, that's our job. Each and every citizen, it's your job to protect each and every other citizen as well.
Yeah. Red coat lives matter.
Yeah.
And what have you.
So, like, it's a beautiful, like I said, they are good at adaptation. Like,
now, here's a question that I have, because we've identified the adaptation. They're very good.
Yeah.
Insert Italian hand gesture.
Mm-hmm.
Mobile Italian hand gesture.
Oh.
Here's the thing, like, and what we're going to get into here shortly is there's not just one group vying for power. The quote-unquote New World Order is just a term for the present time, in the present, who's in power, right? That would mean there are other groups vying for power.
Yeah.
Different groups of dark occultists, different groups of light occultists, right? So I'm not sure who all the players are. But around this time, too, with the United States and its foundings and fighting the crown and what have you, and the rise of democracy, in air quotes, as the New World Order at the time, you also see throughout the America's history, like every president that's ever been assassinated fought against the bank, right? So the bank is definitely a contender, and I would say they definitely, the quote-unquote government model, shifted into the
banking model.
The banking with the government face. So we went from religion to government with religious face, to democracy, to bankers wearing democracy face.
Yeah.
Right? Hashtag the Federal Reserve. This is a good time for
Not just the Federal Reserve, but if you think of it in a global sense.
Right. Global banking. Reserve banks. Because I care not who makes a country's laws something. I don't know.
Like the IMF and stuff like that. Like I saw the head of the IMF having a nice chat with a Rothschild, picture of that the other day, and the Rothschild was wearing a Baphomet necklace, and I was like, oh!
Fantastic.
And people call me crazy. God damn.
Dark-ass occultist.
Yeah.
Little bitch.
So, and that's where the phase I feel like we've gone to now, but I think like... I know there's more. Yeah, there's more, because like the banking phase happened early in the 20th century.
Yeah.
Like they heel pivot turns to the banking phase, and that's the last one. I feel like that's the last one they did, but that doesn't mean they're done adapting, because I think there is a couple more steps in their whole scheme in order to get their shit done.
Yeah, and I think just for posterity, I'm going to add some sound bites either now or throughout the rest of the episode with like household name politicians from the recent era using the term New World Order to let you know that it's a real thing.
America first.
A new world order. Presidential decrees cascading from President Trump's pen.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law.
And for the international order that we have worked for generations to build. Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
From 1945 and the end of the war through 1989 and the end of the Cold War, we had a worldview. Republican and Democratic presidents alike, from Harry Truman to George Bush, stood for freedom and stood for certain propositions that would make America strong and healthy and grow the middle class and shrink poverty and stand against communism. And after 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
And if you would like to have it beaten into your head so much so that it becomes as useful as the word I, check out, I believe it's called Fallen Empire, or just go to YouTube and type in, it's Invisible Empire by Jason Burmis. And they use the word New World Order so much in that goddamn documentary, you're like, okay, I get it. Like, everybody's talking about it. Geopolitical four-dimensional chess.
Let me get the rule book out real quick.
Yeah. In my fucking Muse-inspired autistic writing fest last night, I wrote down the geopolitical four-dimensional chess. Now, if you look at, like, recent events, and I would say recent as maybe, like, now, 11/6/18, and then back to our CIA episode, that's probably what I mean by recent. But you've got nations scheming against nations, obviously. Mm-hmm. You know, Russia, China, and Korea's America. Now, we talked earlier about Turkey and their drive for a new Ottoman Empire, because that's a thing in the present class over there of government. But, you know, you've got nations scheming against nations. You've got banks scheming against banks, scheming against nations. nations using religion again to fight religions to destabilize regions for corporations, for, and secret societies in various stages of all of this. All this shit. Like, secret societies have their hands in every piece of it, right?
Yeah.
And they're all driving cars in this fucking shit show. Mm-hmm. And Donald Trump, okay? Now, this is where I hope I help and I don't anger.
Yeah.
Because I'm not we've said it before, so you should already know, we're not Trump train.
No.
I had hope for Trump because he ran on a good ticket. That's what they do, though. They throw up the one that's the best at pivoting to the new system. So this is something that I've not fully yet codified in my mind. We've talked about it back and forth, Bones and Tubbs, and we're kind of still in the stages of trying to figure it all out. Now, we have several different possibilities of what could happen. To believe the mainstream leftist ideology, it's just the same shit, Bush, Kerry, right, left, the fight that's been going on forever. But if you look just under the surface and QAnon, QMAP.pub, there is a rolling thing that is either legitimate or it is meant to judo flip conspiracy circles into believing that Trump is fighting for them, that he's about to rout out these dark occultists, these pedophiles. So you've got before you the possibility of a banking, corporate, dark occultist controlled Handmaid's Tale version of reality that could play itself out, or you've got a right-wing populist freedom new renaissance led by government again, and that just it's gross.
Still very it's still very skeevy and gross.
Some things that make me nervous about Trump and QAnon.
Yeah.
Trump talked about the Federal Reserve. He talked about how they were shitty, how they needed to be audited and probably gotten rid of.
Yeah.
That's big talk.
Yeah.
And if you're all about that, then you've got my support. Mm-hmm. And I will step one step closer to the train station on the Trump train.
Yeah.
However, he quit talking about it. He mentions it occasionally. And if you believe the QAnon stuff, maybe he's just waiting for this whole midterms thing to go, Hatchet Act to not be in effect anymore.
Yeah.
And they're going to pull the trigger. We won't know that for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But like I said, you've got QAnon, you've got a deadline in my mind. And after that, fuck you.
That's where I'm at with it too. It's like, I told someone this the other day because they had just gotten hip to the QAnon shit. And I was like, listen, man.
Listen, bro.
I was like, I laid it out for him. And I told him, this is what's going on. This is the things that they're talking about. I was like, but I'm going to say this. Do I believe it? Do I have faith in it? I was like, no.
Cautious optimism.
That's it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not putting any of my mental wealth, my mental stock into this.
They have exposed a lot of things that we've talked about before. Because making you think they might be legit, but they might not be.
I'm afraid.
You should be.
Because the thing is, it's like you said, some night, like, what is playing out here? Is it, like you said, some new renaissance of the Republic?
Freedom.
Or is it some fucking dystopic fucking nightmare?
Terrible shit.
Fucking, like, because that's the thing. And I told him this. I said, here's the thing. If it's the bad one, I was like, I don't, like, it's...
Yeah.
Like, okay, so, like, at the end of the day, like, I think of, like, The Lord of the Rings, and it's, like, at the end of Return of the King. And I think Gimli says, I can't imagine dying fighting next to an elf. And Legolas says, what about next to a friend?
What about a friend?
Yeah, right? And it's that thing where it's like, if that's where it goes, that dystopic thing, I'll be standing next to a person who identifies as the planet Mercury. Like,
nah, he'll be dead long before that. He won't be fighting.
With a septum piercing, wearing a tank top. And I'll fight right next to him, because the thing at the end of the day is, it's like, I'm not going to fight. Like, I'm going to fight fucking pedophiles and dark occultists and shit like that, because they're fucking horrible. I'm not going to fight people who are just confused.
No. The Bones and Tubbs podcast is a de-occultist podcast. We're going to learn what we can learn from the occult. We're going to share it with you. We're going to bring it out into light, because it's time to wake up. It's time to stop this.
Yeah.
If you want to see a little bit more into the possibilities of Trump's handlers, I offer everyone up to go to the Higher Side chats. You're going to have to get the extra hour, but the one with Corey Daniel, the Phoenix Enigma, Freemasons, Giants and Esoteric Arizona. In that, he talks about, I believe it's that episode, I hope it is. Otherwise, I just told you the wrong one. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he talks about you can actually see like Trump's involvement with the occult. Like his everything he does is tied in with lunar magic. Anytime he legitimately wants something to go away, he makes a speech about it on full moon. Anytime he wants something to grow or build, he speaks about it on a new moon. These are facts. You can check it out, go back through all of his shit and look at it and line it all up. That's not organic.
No.
And he might not be into the lunar magic shit, but his controllers definitely are.
Yeah.
And he is definitely shots fired against the Freemasons. And the Freemasons, in my mind, are neither good nor bad. We've talked about them in the past. Yeah. You've got your good Masons, your light Masons, and you've got your bad Masons, your dark Masons. It's on the back of the dollar bill. Yeah. You have two forms of Masonry on the back of the dollar bill. You've got the all-seeing eye, the illumination, and you can have a full pyramid of that where everybody's enlightened and everybody's free, or you can stomp that out and have a full stone pyramid. Everybody's under the control of the dark occultists.
I explained that to somebody yesterday, actually. He was baffled by it because I was like, I explained to him that the Eye of Providence with the pyramid is a dual symbol.
Yeah.
I was like, it means two different organizations at the same time.
At war.
Yeah, at war with itself.
Right.
And he was like, holy shit. Because I was explaining to him, I was like, the Eye of Providence, to me, that's a good symbol.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Different things to different folks, though.
I was like, but the pyramid isn't.
Right.
But
unless you're using, I mean, but again, the whole light-dark thing, like if you have a light pyramid, the idea is that the three sides symbolize the three things that make a man, or, I'm sorry.
A human.
A human. Once you have equal parts, thoughts, emotions, and actions, and they're all in concert, then you can create through the generative principle whatever it is you want for yourself. And that, in my mind, is what it symbolizes. But like we said, that's not what it means to everybody.
No. Well, the pyramid means something else.
Right. Trump is admittedly Jesuit. Now, I don't know enough about that to speak on it yet. I think that's definitely a future show.
Yeah.
But they are at war with the Masons. And anytime he shoots a shot at a Mason, he repeats his message 3 times. And you can go back and see that in the past. You can wait and watch for it in the future. That's a fact. Again, he might not be involved, but his handlers are definitely involved. Just real quick, some other things about him, too. He mentioned that he didn't have his son vaccinated. Right? Or at least not in the traditional way. So he kind of like nods his hat at the fact that the regular folks' vaccines are fucky. I don't fuck with it. And he talked about that. And he talked about dismantling the FDA and getting rid of all this corruption and stuff that would actually help the everyday man. Again, once he got in the presidency, hasn't touched it. Other than to reduce regulations. He's also been a...
Do you think that was more like some sort of like dog whistle for certain groups of people?
See, that's the thing.
Because you hear shit like that, like you hear about them, and it's to me, like, when he says shit, because to the average person, they hear shit like that, they don't know exactly, I don't know, I'm not saying they're dumb.
Right.
But I don't know if they know exactly
they're just not awake to it yet.
But if you know what he's talking about when he says he's going to dismantle the FDA and he's talking about vaccines and stuff like that, that is, to me, that's dog whistle talk, because you're trying to get a certain group of people to, like, hear what you're saying.
Yeah, see, so again, we're back to the point where we don't know yet, but he's either going to do the right thing, or he's trying to use people like Bones and Tubbs to feel a certain type of way about him while he fucks our brains out while we're asleep.
Yeah.
And shoves his fist in our ass. And I don't sleep on my stomach, motherfucker, so...
Yeah. Good luck.
I got my eye on you, bitch.
Yeah.
Not the brown one. But, so, like I said, cautious optimism. So my proposal to end this episode, we mentioned the 2 prospects before us. And that's also discounting the fact that eventually they want to destroy the United States from within with financial collapse, nuclear war, and disease.
The end game is ultimately, like, since they have control of most of the banking, the big banking clans have control, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's why I think there's a push towards globalization.
Yeah.
Because they want ultimately they don't give a fuck about borders. They don't care about government.
No, they want a world government. They want depopulation. Agenda 21, 2030, whatever it is.
Georgia Guidestones.
Georgia Guidestones. Google image that shit.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Yeah.
The power at be. They want to get rid of us, except for the ones they want to keep around as slaves to tend to their fucking robot factories and move us all to megacities so we die, and they keep the pristine nature for themselves.
Oh, did you see that there's a link between childhood obesity and fumes from a car exhaust.
No, but that makes sense.
Yeah, I figured I'd just throw that in there. I saw that yesterday, and I was like, oh, shit.
There's definitely something to, and I know I call him a shill all the time when he deserves to be called a shill, but Joe Rogan's mentioned a few times on his show the danger of, like, brake dust, which makes sense. You think, like, if you live in a big city with a lot of cars, every time a car taps its brakes, you're breathing that shit in.
Yeah.
Fuck that. So, I mean, it's at work at multiple levels. BPA causing you to fucking not know what bathroom to use and wanting to get your dick cut off. And now transgenders are wanting to have their original sex back. Like, we are involved in a fucking deep-ass four-dimensional chessboard. All these things that, and also the judo flip. And here I'm getting all fucking Tarantino-y. They want us to compartmentalize ourselves into various groups. A libertarian, a Republican, a Democrat, a socialist, a fucking communist, white, black, gay, straight, fucking Muslim, Christian. The easier you are to put in a fucking box, the easier you are to control.
Yeah.
If you are fighting each of these groups individually, you're a fucking target.
Yeah.
You need to come together, and that's, I think, a good way to segue into the next episode. I propose, instead of those two other fucking ideologies, we move into a future where we take responsibility for ourselves. It's time to jump both feet into enlightenment. It's time to drop the fucking boxes, get out of these groups, enlighten. So basically, what the New World Order wants, and has always wanted, regardless of who's in power, they want ignorance, division, and slavery. What I'm proposing is enlightenment, unity, and freedom. You know, because that's the only way. You drop your fucking slavery. You don't need a daddy to fucking tell you what you can and can't do. So the homework for this week, in between this episode and next episode, I'm not sure if I mentioned it yet, but just some books to check out. G. Edward Griffin Creation. Let's see. Creature from Jekyll Island. That'll completely explain to you the whole monstrous abortion of central banking and how the Federal Reserve was a fucking nightmare and how it was brought into power. Ron Paul in the Fed. Short read. Good read. But the homework for this week, if you don't do anything else, just do this one thing. Go to YouTube. Mark Passio, Natural Law Seminar. Watch it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you want to do more for yourself because you're all about enlightenment and this way instead of the other two ways we mentioned of society rolling out, watch all of his shit. Because that's what got me where I'm at.
Yeah, he's legit.
I also heard about this book called Life Without a Head. And if you would, I'd like to give you this experiment. Just as a little taste.
Yeah.
Because this fucked me up yesterday. Anyway, I'm not a professional, so I fucked the title of that book up. But it's a book about this guy and his meditation and his experience with meditation. I'm going to find the title and the name, and I'm going to post it on the Facebook page later. In this is just one of his many experiments, but he tells you to try this out. So if you're in a position, you know, where you're not driving or doing anything important, close your eyes. Now, all of your perspective with your eyes closed is that you, or the quote-unquote I that is you, is inside your head. Your consciousness is inside your head. Am I right? That's where you reside. Now open your eyes. Look all over the room. Where's your head? You know? You've gone your entire life without your head.
Yeah.
It's never in vision unless you look in a mirror. Suck my dick.
Yeah.
But just that experiment alone, like he leads you through some guided meditations of trying to find the I. Where am I?
Yeah.
Where am I really? And that should show you a little bit, you know, talking about going down this enlightenment path. Like, you are more than your flesh and blood. You're more than these punk-ass boxed ideologies.
Yeah.
You are much more.
Yeah.
So don't fall into their bullshit. Learn more. So our next episode will be about solutions.
Yeah.
More along this line, if I have my way, about what all this really is.
Yeah. We'd like to thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
We hope you had a good episode. I'm glad we're out of Spooktober now, so and that is the last time that I could say that.
Legally, yeah.
Cue the celebrating cheers. Okay, so we're back on track with our regular weekly broadcasts. We hope you enjoyed the show this week. We hope you tune in next week for the conclusion to this episode about the New World Order.
I hope you join us on our journey so that we can fight these goddamn right-wingers and left-wingers and all these other groups and just come together as one.
Check us out on Instagram.
Yeah.
Send us a message.
Bones and Tubs on Instagram.
Check us out on Facebook.
Bones and Tubs on Facebook.
Check us out on our website.
bonesandtubs.com.
We are on every place that you can stream, so we're not hard to find.
Except Twitch, because we have shitty internet and we don't have a good camera yet.
Yeah. So we'd like to thank y'all for listening. We'd like to thank Frank America.
Frank America. You can check him out at, I believe it's The Frank American on Instagram. I'll leave those notes in there.
Yeah.
Links and such.
Go check out Frank America. It's the music this week.
Also thank Ryan Simpson because he's still our intro.
Yes.
Ryan Simpson at Bandcamp.com. Got that new album out.
Yeah. Go over to Patreon.
Raising Tide Raises All Ships.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Go over to Patreon. Donate $1.
Yep.
And join the nation.
We need your help. We need your monies. We would like to do this full time. Fuck
Yes.
the Factory of Sadness.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We hope you have a good week.
It's a two-part this time. First of all, we love you.
We really do.
And secondly, stay off the grass.
Well, I think it looks so ridiculous and impossible.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. We'd have way better CGI if it was fake.
Spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX, spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX. Understand? I don't understand shit. All I overstand is the place I'm standing. What I cannot stand is the plans they planning. Cause they just rockets, man, they ain't even landing. Spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX, spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX. Yeah, it's just a roadster up in outer space. It's so real, you can tell it's real cause it's fake. Know the deal that they privatize in the parade. My brand is North, when we chat, you can call me Frank. Spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX, spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX. Taxi ISS is like an Uber to the moon. Flashback 69, Tricky Dickie's on the phone. The Shining was the secret guy that only Kubrick knew. Now it's Ready Player 1 and 237 is the room. Spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX, spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX. What up? Good morning, dog, how you feel? You just woke up from a world, huh, that wasn't real. You woke as fuck, now you opened up to what you feel. So never duck when you rolling up on your next meal. Spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX, spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX. Understand? I don't understand shit. All I overstand is the place I'm standing. What I cannot stand is the plans they planning. Cause they just rockets, man, they ain't even landing. Spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX, spaceship, fake shit, stage set, SpaceX, fake no snooze, dog.